When you saw the photograph of the top secret documents laid out on the floor at Mar-a-Lago, what did you think to yourself, looking at that image?
This raises a lot of questions. Why hasn't the FBI released a bunch of photos of all of Biden's classified documents to the press? Let's ask ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Kentucky Congressman James Comer. Congressman, Happy New Year. Fantastic to see you, sir. The DOJ and the FBI established a new normal. I think you and I can agree. When the National Archives wet themselves, raids must be conducted on presidential homes. Further, photos must be taken and shared with the press. That's what the corrupt Department of Justice and the FBI leadership did as they dialed all that up for President Trump. The fact that none of this is happening with Biden signals one of two things, Congressman, to me anyway. Either the FBI is a corrupt arm of the Democrat Party, and no conservative should be forced to fund a partisan operation like that, or the documents that Joe Biden illegally took are so sensitive that the FBI can't show those photographs. Which is it, Congressman?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have the answer for that, but I will tell you this. This is proof of the fact that we have a two-tier system of justice in America right now. This is proof that the deep state is real. This is why one of the first things we did as a Republican majority in the House of Representatives was created a task force and chose Jim Jordan to lead it to investigate the weaponization of the DOJ and the FBI. I mean, I don't know what other evidence you would need to prove that we have a government that's out of control. We have unelected bureaucrats that are calling the shots, and this has to stop.
Yeah, you have committed Democrats who are these unelected bureaucrats who are willing to use their power and authority and our taxpayer dollars to disadvantage us, to dispense unequal justice. In my view, it's unacceptable. Here's how Joe Biden, Congressman, responded to Mr. Pelley's question.
How that could possibly happen, how anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that, I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
Totally irresponsible, Congressman. He says, even though Trump's documents were locked up per FBI suggestions, who had visited Mar-a-Lago just months before they raided, providing even more stringent security suggestions that President Trump fully complied with, by the way, there's growing concern that sensitive, compartmentalized information was found in Joe Biden's stash of classified documents. At this point, we don't know which of our foreign enemies got access to that information. Doesn't this show that the leader of the Democrat Party, Congressman, cannot be trusted with our nation's secrets?
Absolutely. I would have said that long before this document scandal, but no, he can't be trusted. I mean, his family is compromised. If you look at what's come out this week, in addition to the fact that he had classified documents in an unsecure location that he wasn't supposed to possess, is the fact that the Biden Center for Diplomacy was funded almost exclusively through anonymous donations from China. Now, we knew this, and we were going to bring this out in our committee hearings, but I'm glad that it's come out so people can see the investigation of the Biden family influence peddling is justified. There is a pattern of the Biden family receiving enormous sums of money from anonymous sources in China. That's a national security risk. Now we see that he had classified documents in different locations strode around. The Biden Center, which I already said was funded through anonymous sources in China. The Biden residence where Hunter hangs out, and we know all the implications he has with respect to the money he's received from China. His Chinese friend that used to work at the CCP that he was involved with, hanging out with at that house. This is very concerning, and that's why that we have to move forward with this investigation, not just of the classified document, but of the entire Biden family influence peddling scheme.
And anybody at the Department of Justice or the FBI that interferes with this investigation might, I would suggest, be culpable in trying to protect discovery of just how deep this influence peddling and how compromised this country might be by communist China. Congressman, earlier today you pressed, speaking of the House you just mentioned, you pressed the White House after it was revealed that Hunter Biden's license from 2018 was the same address as the one the classified documents were discovered. The fear is that all of Hunter's overseas business dealings involving America's enemies may have provided a conduit for foreign powers to comb through these classified documents that appears Joe Biden illegally kept for 6 years without authorization. Has the White House responded to your inquiry, sir?
They have not responded, but that brings up a great point. We've already proven the point that Hunter Biden is compromised. Now, what we've been saying when we've been requesting Hunter Biden and the Biden family bank records is that so many accounts were commingled. It's very unusual for a father and an adult child of that age to have accounts that were commingled. So you look at all the bank violations that Hunter Biden accumulated, a record number of bank violations, and we believe that Joe Biden was possibly on some of those accounts. Now we see that there are records that show that Hunter Biden at one point owned Joe Biden's house. None of this makes sense. It's all very shady how the Bidens conducted their business activities, and that's why this family has the potential to be compromised. That's why every American should be strongly supporting this investigation of Biden family influence peddling and the investigation of how they mishandled classified documents.
Well, polling shows the vast majority of Americans already believe that Joe Biden and his regime are compromised by communist China. So I think you might have a lot of support there, even, dare I say, among Democrats, Congressman. Meantime, Attorney General Merrick Garland, speaking of Democrats, he appointed controversial lawyer Robert Hur as a special counsel to investigate Biden's handling of the documents. Many are sounding the alarm over this appointment. Listen to what former Trump official Kash Patel had to say about this.
This guy, Hur, needs to be the first one subpoenaed by the new Special Select Committee under Jim Jordan's authority on the weaponization of government. And do you want to know why? Because Hur, we have the receipts, Steve, and we're going to release them later, was sending communications to the Justice Department and Rod Rosenstein's crew arguing against the release of the Nunes memo, saying that it would bastardize and destroy the United States national security apparatus. This guy is a swamp monster of the tier 1 level.
Congressman, it turns out that Hur was one of the degenerates who pushed the fake Steele dossier, even though subsequent documents reveal that the intelligence community knew the dossier was complete garbage. Will the GOP call Mr. Hur to explain his role in the Russia hoax so that Americans may know why Merrick Garland actually chose him to, quote, investigate Biden?
Well, you'll have to ask Jim Jordan that question, but I know Jim pretty well, and I would make a pretty large bet that he'll be asked to come explain his actions. Look at all the people in connection with the Biden family investigations that have ties to the Steele dossier, with Roth at Twitter, who was working with the FBI to suppress the laptop story. Now the new special counsel. I mean, it's breathtaking, the network of people that have been involved from day one in covering up different acts of crime that the Biden family has committed that now just keep resurfacing themselves in more of the Biden defense here. It makes no sense. There's a pattern here with the Biden family that would suggest that this family is a prime candidate to be compromised, and that should concern every American.
And it suggests a wide net, perhaps the CCP has cast, that pulls in a lot of folks complicit with the cover-up, complicit with the Bidens. And I think the American people deserve to know what the hell they've been up to. Congressman, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.